Hi everyone, hope you're all doing well, and today we're going to do a video on GAN. So GAN dropped two gems in the last 24 hours, and them two gems that they dropped actually got investors thinking, because as you probably know, yesterday was another day of the growth stocks absolutely massively selling off, and they sold off once again. And obviously it's really ugly right now, but when you think long term, some of these stocks and what they're doing are going to be really good buying opportunities. It's like a classic stock market crash. When you're in there, it's a little bit ugly, but when you get the rewards from buying that dip, further down the line, longer term down the line, you'll be like, oh, I wish I bought more of that, or why didn't I buy more of that? And I think GAN right now is a prime example of that, especially with what it did yesterday. The two gems that it brought out, and even the share price went, oh, we're supposed to be selling off right now, but this is really positive news. Now, what GAN did yesterday is it actually opened up nearly at $10.71. By the end of the day, it actually gave all of it back. It was down 10% in the end. But what happened yesterday was a prime example of investors were like, oh, this is actually really good. We should be probably like happy about this. But it just fell back into that trend of going down, 5% the next day, 4% the next day. But once again, this is the gems that you look at, what's going to benefit in the long term. These are two really big gems that will benefit GAN in the long term. And it even got the stock market like a bit confused, because like you say, it was up 10% and then it gave it all the way back. And in general, GAN has had a fantastic year. You look at the share price, you'd think it's been a horrible year for GAN. We came into the year at $20. By the way, a lot of the people that are being negative right now to growth stocks, you'll notice they've only been negative right now since these share prices have gone down. You didn't hear about them at the start of the year. I'm just gonna say that, for example, they're always loudest when it's going down. I tell you something, these guys that are negative on growth stocks, I see it as a YouTube creator that has videos that are seen by 3,000 people, and I get to see a lot of different opinions, and I see a lot of people at a peak like causing fear out there because share prices are going down, and it's down 51%. But like I said at the start of the year, you wouldn't have heard them, but now it's gone down. Everyone's like, oh, growth stocks are terrible and all that, they're all overvalued. Trust me, longer term, some of these are going to be amazing buying opportunities. And then people who post negative things will be like, oh, I wish I bought that, or suddenly their negative comments will be deleted out of nowhere. So I tell you that, guys, something to think about. Don't be listening to other people here that are either short or more emotional over what's going on in the share price, not looking at the financials and where some of these investments are going to be in the longer term. But going back to GAN has absolutely smashed it this year. It was a year for GAN to go, let's just grow massive, let's sacrifice profitability a bit, let's grow huge. And what they're going to do, current year, 269% year-over-year growth. Absolutely phenomenal, absolutely amazing growth. And even next year, going forward, we're going to grow at 30+%. Let's not forget, analysts were expecting 20%. So GAN has grown at a huge rate, and next year as well, it's even beating analyst predictions. They've only just caught up to where GAN's going to be. And just to put that into context as well, this year we're going to do 100, we're aiming to do 100, or analysts are predicting to do 130 million in revenue. What did GAN say they were going to do at the start of the year? GAN said that in 2021 it expects revenue to be around 100 to 105 million. So once again, GAN here this year, 100 to 105 million. And we're now expecting 130 million. That is an absolute smash out the park. So GAN have absolutely smashed it this year. And even going forward, like, analysts are slowly catching up to where they're going to be. So this year, the financial side of it, GAN has put in, basically for me, a kind of a 10 out of 10 year, really, financial wise. Does it reflect in the share price? No, not at the moment. But in the long term, I think people will eventually clock on and go, oh, that company that's going to do 130 million and it's valued at 405 million market cap. It's also got an amazing balance sheet. It's also quite close to profitability. In fact, it used to be profitable until it decided to grow 300%. But in the longer term, when it doesn't need to put that much money in for the expansions, can it come back to profitability? More than likely. So, absolutely fantastic year from GAN. Now, the positive news is this. There was two pieces of news that were really positive. First of all, GAN announces a 5 million share repurchase program. Now, this is very, very rare for something that is growing this quick and is currently unprofitable. You don't normally see a lot of companies do this, because what you are more focusing on is getting that revenue growth up and maybe making acquisitions like Coolbet, for example. So for a company like GAN to actually do a share repurchase program is very rare, and potentially I would have said that it would be better for them to kind of invest this money into help growing the company. That's more what I am bothered about. I'm more bothered about growing that revenue, then that goes to the bottom line, and that will help the share price do very well over the next 5 years. Personally, for me, I think the 5 million could have been spent for that. But what you have at the moment is this: you have basically GAN at absolutely ridiculous prices. You have it at 52-week lows. You have it lower than what it ever has been on the stock market. So you have the shares at unbelievable cheap valuations. And basically, if we actually went on the statement that was given on the GAN website, they basically came out and said, like, we weren't really planning on doing it, but our stock's at $9, so we might as well just repurchase it. And the thing is 5 million for a company like GAN is actually really big. Let's not forget, this company is only 405 million market cap. It's got 50 million on the balance sheet. This is actually a really big repurchase for a company this sort of size. And like I said, I don't know personally if I would have made this decision, because for me, I'm not really bothered about. This is obviously a statement to the shareholders going, this is how cheap it is, we're going to buy back shares now. And I think a few of the concerns have been that because the CEO sold only a few shares, like 10% of his position, a few people or shareholders have been up in arms like, oh, what is it going on, we're selling shares. And then basically GAN come and say, oh, all them shares that the CEO sold, yeah, we're going to buy them all back in the company, and also even more. So I think that's kind of just a bit more confidence to like the shareholders that are a little bit nervous because the CEO sold a few shares recently, which is totally entitled to do because he owns so many shares. He's been with this company for 16, 17 years or something. So obviously it's not anything massive to him. Like, obviously he's sold something for some personal financial reasons, but a few people have lost it a little bit because the stock of where the price is. And I think this is a little bit of confidence of, look, all right, we'll sort that out for you. We'll buy all them shares back and even more. So I think this is going just a little bit more of benefiting the shareholders, like, hey, everything's all right. But as well as that, obviously there's benefits of buying your shares back. It's probably better than dividends nowadays because of tax purposes and not having to pay so much tax on it. And as well as that, obviously it makes your EPS better as well because there's less outstanding shares. So yeah, obviously there's benefits to having buying back your shares, but I think the big statement was to give shareholders that confidence of, look, don't worry, this is how cheap it is, we're going to buy some back. So yeah, I think overall I'm happy with, I'm not like mad upset about it. Would I have made that decision? Potentially not, because I'm not really bothered where the share price is in the long term. But for the few people that will probably be a bit nervous about the what's going on with the share price, then that probably give you a bit more confidence anyway. And the second gem that was dropped was GAN is going to launch through its iGaming and online sports betting through Ontario. So this is somewhere that could potentially come online in 2022. So obviously for GAN to kind of put in this revenue growth, it needs to keep adding more launches in here, and it looks like it has one of its next launches in place, which is really good. So obviously we're going to need this revenue growth, and basically GAN said that they came out and said that once the license is approved, one of their clients, which they didn't name just yet, probably FanDuel I would guess, will launch with the GAN in that state in the first quarter of 2022, pending a few licenses, of course. But looks like that could be one of the big revenue drivers for 2022. And just to put that into context, Ontario has a population of more than 13 million people, equivalent to the population of Pennsylvania, which is the 5th largest US state. So yeah, that gives a bit of context of the size of it. The company anticipates being operational upon the opening of the Ontario iGaming market in early 2022. There was also a statement here from Dermot Smurfit, so if you don't want to read that, then it is there for you to kind of have a little browse through. But yeah, this was obviously another little positive thing for GAN going forward. One of those clients that they need to expand with to get that revenue growth, which would be really good. Another revenue driver for 2022, and also a share buyback, which I think gave that little confidence to shareholders with what's going on with the share price right now. So yeah, I mean, obviously, like I said, the share price of GAN was like, this is really positive news, we need to be like up today, and then it just gave it all back. And that's just the market that we're in. But rather than looking at what's happening day to day, focus on what that will mean for the company's financials in the longer term, when you think 1 year, 2 year, when this kind of stupid phase of selling anything off that has absolutely smashed financials this year and isn't even a crazy valuation, rather than actually like selling it off, think about what's happening with the share price, think about what's this going to mean for the company in the longer term. And those are two really good pieces of news for GAN, which obviously made no difference to the share price. Well, it did until it sold it all off, but yeah, I think those were two really good, and it even got the stock market to think, oh, this is really good. But then obviously we went back to normal anyway. So yeah, keep it in there. There's a lot of positive news out there. Look at the companies, look at the financials, not what's happening in the share price day to day. And once again, GAN absolutely delivering once again. So happy about that. Hope that little update was useful. Sorry there wasn't much more video today. I'm not feeling too great, but I wanted to make sure I still give you a video and still kind of keep up to date with, especially right now, where the stock market's doing this. These are the times that I want to be here making videos and saying, everything's going to be okay, rather than the days when we're up a crazy amount. Those are the easy days. These are the harder days as an investor, and I don't want to leave you in the dark on these sort of days. So even though it's a bit of a shorter video and I might sound not very good today, hopefully that was still a little bit useful anyway. And I'll catch you all in a bit, hopefully on a video tomorrow.